Most of us do this without a second thought. We scrape the last bit of peanut butter out of the jar, rinse out the plastic, and drop it into the blue bin. We do it to prevent landfills from overflowing and to cut down the greenhouse gases they emit, part of a global effort to manage the 2.2 billion tons of waste expected by 2025. But a growing number of economists have looked at the total supply chain and arrived at a jarring conclusion. When you factor in the complete cost of the process, a lot of what we put in that blue bin belongs in the garbage. Treating everything we discard as environmentally equal is an economic mistake. To see what actually helps the planet, we have to look at the specific math behind each material. The easiest place to start is with the absolute winners of the modern waste system: metals, aluminum, tin, and steel. The economic case here is ironclad. Extracting and mining virgin metal ores requires a staggering amount of energy and capital, making recovered material highly valuable. Because of that high baseline cost, the market is eager to pay for scrap. Those massive rectangular bales of crushed steel represent a highly profitable commodity ready for immediate industrial reuse. The social benefit of recycling these materials far outweighs the cost of collecting them. When industry values the waste, the free market ensures high rates of return without the need for government mandates. But the moment we move from steel to plastics and green glass, that economic equation flips. This scale compares the hidden costs of recycling plastics against their market value. Heavy diesel emissions and processing energy weigh down the cost side. Ironically, successful Western recycling programs have flooded the market with a massive oversupply, driving recycled plastic prices completely into the ground. The physical consequence is staggering. Prices for some recycled plastics and glass have dropped so low that materials carefully washed and sorted by households are sometimes dumped into endless fields and landfills anyway. When the financial and social costs of transport and processing outweigh the value of the final product, forcing the recycling of low-value plastics creates more environmental damage than simply throwing them away. Paper recycling follows a different market logic. Economist Stephen Landsberg points out that if we rely too heavily on recycled paper, the industry has less incentive to plant and maintain private forests, which can actually lead to fewer trees. It's a matter of commercial demand. If paper mills get their supply from our blue bins, they lose the financial reason to invest in the raw timber industry and the forests that support it. Since domestic markets often struggle to absorb our cheap plastics and paper, much of it is sold abroad. Environmental economist Peter Van Buchering points to the global waste trade. For years, the West has loaded its low-value trash onto cargo ships bound for countries like India and China. In those nations, cheaper labor and massive economies of scale allow the recycling math to finally work. The blue bin at the end of your driveway serves as the entry point for a volatile global commodities supply chain. There is one final variable missing from this economic ledger: the time cost of the human beings doing the work. Economist Clark Wiseman notes that we consistently underestimate the labor hours required to process low-value waste. Whether it's you rinsing a yogurt container at the sink or a worker standing at a conveyor belt, that time has a real, measurable cost. If we redirected the millions of hours spent sorting virtually worthless materials, we could focus on more efficient environmental tasks, like researching ways to eliminate single-use packaging entirely. This inefficiency stands in contrast to the reality of modern waste disposal. Landfills in the developed world have evolved into sophisticated, engineered systems. Modern facilities utilize heavy industrial infrastructure to seal off leakages. Many are even equipped to capture the methane produced by decomposing garbage and convert those gases directly into electricity. When you run the numbers, a technologically advanced, energy-capturing landfill is often a better destination for low-value plastics than a distant recycling plant. If the economics are this poor for so many materials, why do we fiercely defend universal recycling? Economists point to a psychological concept: the environmental sin offset. The ritual of sorting our trash provides immediate satisfaction, assuaging our guilt over the waste we generate. Tossing a plastic bottle into a box is easy. It requires zero sacrifice compared to the difficult reality of reducing our consumption, refusing convenient packaging, or changing how we commute. Recycling is a specific economic tool. It works for metals, But for plastics, true change starts at the store, long before the bin.